You know, life is getting pretty complicated. Each of us is so busy with his own affairs, raising a family, making a living, and keeping house, that sometimes we lose sight of what's going on right around us. Of course, we try to keep up with things through the newspapers, the radio, television, and so on, but what do you think about when you read something like this?
Wanna be with.
Parents, too.
So, well, maybe. And what about this?
Shameful.
Somebody ought to do something.
Somebody? Somebody, yes. But that somebody is you, I, each one of us. We ought to do something about a lot of the things that are wrong in our city.
Feeling so blue tonight, longing for you tonight, counting the stars above me, wondering if you still love me. I don't know where you are, but no matter where you are you thinking of me tonight? Though we drifted apart, am I still in your heart? Is there somebody else tonight, taking my place with you, sweetheart? Lonesomeness fills me with memories. Without you, nothing seems right. While I wait for the dawn, thoughts of you linger on. Are you thinking of me
At Luigi's Italian Deli and Meat Market, we offer only one kind of food, the best. Luigi's has taste-tempting selections of imported specialties from Italy. Their Italian-style veal cutlets and homemade Italian sausage and full line of fresh meats are of the best quality. For a snack or a feast, Luigi's has fresh Italian bread, rolls, butter, and milk. They also have freezer plans. Come to Luigi's Italian Deli and Meat Market, open 7 days a week. 424 Dover Road, South Toms River.
And they were building a city. Jack was painting. Kathy was making the post office. Susan was starting on a gas station. Bob was having such a wonderful time. He was just...
What do you want? Who wants to play us there?
I decided to ask the others. Hello, boys and girls.
Hi.
Excuse me for interrupting, but why isn't Johnny playing with you?
Well, Johnny's rude and selfish. He doesn't think of others. He won't take turns. And he always seems to be mad at somebody, always shouting or bossing us around.
You don't think he really wants to be that way, do you?
Maybe he doesn't mean to be selfish, but he is. He just doesn't know that you have to be nice to get along with others.
Can't you children help him get along?
We tried, but it didn't work.
Why? What happened?
He just...
Wait. Let's remember it's more courteous to take turns.
We did let him play with us, but you should have seen what happened. Whenever we tried to talk about what we were going to do, John interrupted. Wouldn't give any of us a chance to say anything. He thought all our ideas were corny. He wouldn't let anybody else use the blue paint. Said he was the only one who could have a blue house. Anytime he wanted something, he would just grab it. He wouldn't take turns or share. And when we told him we didn't like it, he was very rude. So we just decided that if we were going to have any fun, he couldn't play with us. Gee whiz, what a creep! You said.
Oh, that's too bad. Isn't there any way we can help Johnny learn to be considerate?
He'll never learn.
Maybe not, if nobody will be nice to Johnny and really try to help him.
But how? What else can we do?
We could call him over and really try again. Okay?
Okay.
Johnny,
Yeah.
can you please come over here a minute?
Okay. Hello, John. Hello. Hi.
We were just having a little talk, and we'd like it if you could tell us what you think.
What about?
We were talking about consideration for others and being nice to people.
Oh,
You know what that means?
sure. Things like taking turns and sharing, not being bossy or interrupting all the time, and saying nice things like please and thank you.
That's right. You do know what consideration for others means, don't you?
Sure, who doesn't? Sure, who doesn't? You don't, that's who.
Hold on, Susan. You're giving a good example of how not to be nice to others.
Oh, I'm sorry, but he makes me so mad. If he knows all the nice things to do, why doesn't he do them?
Maybe he forgets, just like you just did. What do you say, Johnny?
How can I be nice to them? They won't even play with me.
Do you have any idea of why they don't play with you?
I don't know. Guess they just don't want to.
Maybe there are other reasons.
What, for instance?
Here, let me draw you a picture. Do you know what I'm drawing?
A bowl?
No, I have something else in mind. Now, what is it?
A face.
What kind of face?
A smiling face.
Yes, a happy face. Now, what's this?
An unhappy face.
Right. Now let's give them names. Let's call this one Smiley. And this one Sulky. Now, if Smiley and Sulky both came over to your house and wanted to play with you, which one would you rather play with?
This one.
Why?
'Cause he's happier. He'd be more fun to play with.
Yes, I agree. Now, look over here, Johnny. Would you say you look more like Smiley or Sulky? Would you want to play with you, the you that we see in the mirror? If you want other children to like to play with you, you'll have to be a Smiley, not a Sulky. That doesn't have to be so hard. In fact, if we change Sulky's selfish face to a happy, considerate of others face, he becomes a Smiley too. All right, let's see you try it. I mean, change your unhappy face into a happy face, like Smiley's. Smile, Johnny. Come on. Try. Try harder. There, that's better. If you can keep that happy face and remember to be considerate to others, I'll bet the other children will like to have you play with them.
Sure. Sit down here, Johnny. Look at my Johnny. Thank you.
I wish I could say this is the end of it, but things never seem to work out that easily. Nobody can just all of a sudden start being nice to others. It takes a while. You have to try real hard and get lots of practice, or it's easy to forget to be nice. And I'm afraid that Johnny hasn't been trying long enough to go very far without a slip-up. Uh-oh, here it comes.
Just a minute, Johnny. Let me finish. I think we should...
No, I got a better
Put
idea.
down. Kathy's talking. Let her finish. Kathy's idea stinks. So here's the way we're gonna do it. Now we'll put the post office over here, and my house up here. Hey, what's the matter? You're no fun to play with when you want to do all the talking. Oh, gosh, I'm sorry, I forgot.
That's just the trouble. You're always forgetting.
Gee, I want to be nice, but how can I remember? I'm trying, then all of a sudden I get excited and forget.
That's a real tough problem. How can we remember to always be considerate of others? Does anyone know?
It won't work unless you want to be nice. Really, really want to. But I do really want to. Then you'll have to keep trying. Trying extra hard. Maybe you're not trying hard enough. The more you try and be nice, the easier it gets. Oops, excuse me, my shoe's untied.
How did you learn to tie your shoes, Johnny?
Well, I just wanted to, so my mom showed me how, and I kept on practicing and trying, and pretty soon I could just do it. It's easy.
Sure. Learning to be considerate of others is like learning to tie your shoes. You've been shown how. Now it's up to you to practice and keep trying to be nice. Pretty soon it should be as easy as tying your shoes.
But what if I keep forgetting? I know what to help Johnny remember. It's like we do at our house. It started one night around the dinner table.
We don't want to call you children down in front of company or friends, but how can we remind you when we think you are forgetting to be considerate of others? Is there any way we can let you know you are being selfish without talking about it in front of others?
Maybe we could work out some signal that we all know means stop. You're not being nice. I know, how about this? Hey, that's a good signal. It shows us that we should be thinking about being nice.
That's good. Shall we all agree that any time one of us is starting to be selfish or rude or inconsiderate, and one of us goes, that's to remind us to be courteous?
And it works. Just so everyone takes it the right way and doesn't get mad.
Sounds like a good idea, Kathy. Shall we all try to help Johnny remember by giving him the signal when he forgets?
Yeah.
Okay, Johnny?
Sure.
Well then, you go ahead and play, and we'll see how it works out. Johnny. Well, it should work if Johnny really wants it to and tries hard enough. When Johnny starts to forget and the others signal to help him remember, he has to be a good sport about it. But most of all, Johnny has to make himself remember, so his friends won't have to remind him all the time. Then he'll start really being considerate of others. And if Johnny keeps trying hard, it won't be long before he'll be nice all the time. Then it will be easy, and Johnny will know that he's like Smiley, and other children will like to play with him. How about you? Do you ever forget to be considerate and act like a sulky? Or do you all try to be a Smiley?
You're watching Sleepcore. Pleasant dreams.
There, miss. You see, the heterodynes were feeding back into the stimulus reaction activators, causing non-snaps of the motor control resistor units.
Oh, that's good.
No, lady, that's bad. But your regenerative circuits are tuned asynchronously, and that causes concatenation in the intermediate amplifiers.
Well, that's bad, isn't it?
No, that's good. From now on, I don't think there'll be the slightest trouble with your robot. Your domestic problems are completely solved.
Well, thank you very much.
That's perfectly all right. And if there's anything else you want to know about your robot, don't hesitate to give us a ring. Good day.
Rolo, answer the door.
Sign here.
Lars, Rolo, fix. Yes, ma'am. Rolo, get.
Yes, Rolo the robot, the chromium-plated butler, is just a daydream after all. But not so Rolo's little brother and sister robots, the millions of small mechanical servants that never ask for afternoons off, the amazing machines and gadgets that almost seem to think for themselves. The tiny clockwork brains and heat regulators on our kitchen stoves apparently do almost everything except read the cookbook. Thinking machines like this keep golden brown slices of toast from turning into slabs of charcoal and keep the coffee hot until we're ready to start dunking. Then there's a tea kettle that's been trained never to boil dry. When the water is gone, the kettle simply pulls out its own attachment plug. And here's a gadget that ought to rate a bow from every dog in the country. A Fido feeder that never forgets when the pup is dining home alone and the rest of the family is dining out. What's more, it tells him when to come and get it. In offices and schoolrooms, too, robots have learned to turn on the lights. This little electric eye measures the amount of daylight coming in the windows. When the light level outside drops below the requirement for good visibility, this robot throws a switch, and the first bank of lights goes on. No robot machine has ever been accused of being absent-minded or careless at its work. Here, a robot that never sleeps nor winks, nor looks out the window, stands guard over the men who work at this giant press. As long as the robot can see the man, the press won't budge an inch, and that's mighty important on a big job like this. Did you ever hear of anyone getting his lap caught in an elevator door? That can't happen here, because as long as there's anything in the way, this door can't close. Step back, please. There's plenty of room in the rear of the car. All right, then, don't step back. Just take a deep breath and hang on to yourself. One little robot, for example, always remembers to serve drinks when it sees anyone walking around with a thirst. A beam of light is aimed across the fountain and into an electric eye. When the beam of light is broken by a solid object, such as this head, the electric eye control opens the faucet, and there's your drink. This particular device is an automatic fire sprinkler. Someday, maybe someone will invent a robot that can take a joke. Some robots have even learned to fly. Tiny automatic brains in giant airliners, sensitive to the slightest change in balance or direction, relieve the busy pilots of the job of keeping the wings level, the nose on the horizon, and the plane headed in the right direction. Don't look now, but this motor car is simply full of robots. In the carburetor is a diet specialist, a brainy collection of jets and valves and floats that serve a health menu of gasoline calories and fresh air vitamins to the engine, a menu that varies with every change in speed or load. The engine likes its meals served not too hot and not too cold. So in the intake manifold, another mastermind with a nervous system sensitive to heat uses hot exhaust gases to warm the mixture before it goes into the engine. Step right up close to the platform and see the Siamese robots. These robots attached to the distributor are always worrying about the spark in the engine. One is sure that the spark ought to be advanced. The other is equally sure that it ought to be retarded just a trifle. But they never argue. Each takes his turn according to the speed and load, and between them, they manage to stage a grand performance every time they go on the road. One little robot, a very small but intelligent brain, sits up back of the engine in the voltage regulator and keeps close tabs on the generator to see that the generator makes enough current to keep the battery fully charged, but not too full. And still another deep thinker rides way up in front. Its job is to keep water from cooling off in the radiator until the engine is warmed up to a good working temperature. Then, in the vacuum power gear shift, there's a robot strongman who thrives on almost nothing at all. With a bit of a vacuum, this sturdy fellow can almost shift for himself if we'll just tell him what we want him to do. Robots have even taken up the art of dial twisting in our radios. All we need to do is push the button and listen. Driving wouldn't be half so much fun if we didn't have that phantom crew of intelligent robots to help us. Every day in our homes and offices, as well as in our motor cars, hundreds of these little robots are doing more things for us than we realize, taking care of the routine tasks and leaving us free to live and work and play in greater ease and comfort and safety.
My name's Jeffrey Lynn. I have a story to tell you. My story is about fabrics and folks like you and that engrossed young couple over there. There was a time not too long ago when if something like this happened, well, how would you feel? Indignant? Sick all over? After all, a ruined suit or a cleaning and pressing job is expensive. But my, how times have changed. Annoyed? Certainly. But only the mild annoyance that comes from knowing it'll take less than an hour to wash and dry them before putting them right back on. Just think, less than an hour. That's a miracle. A miracle that could only happen in the wonderful world of wash and wear. Yes, something besides the time has changed. Something quite important. That's the real story. One that begins over here. In the bottom of the laundry basket of the average home of the average family. For about 6,000 years now, give or take a couple, we've faced the problem of covering our bodies with clothing. First, the fig leaves. Since then, we've relied pretty much on 4 sturdy natural fibers, animal and vegetable. Like, for instance, wool, silk, cotton, and linen. Yes, since the Stone Age, man has spent a lot of time seeking better materials for his clothes. Plus a good deal more towards finding easier and different, always newer, always better ways to get his clothing clean. Right up to today's automatics. But we all know that the fabrics we used couldn't always be cleaned by washing. Wool, for example. Raw, unprocessed wool, just sheared. Wool's always been and is a leading warmth fiber, for outerwear especially. Has excellent wrinkle resistance, good draping qualities, is easily dyed, a lot of design appeal. Yet no matter how we bettered our laundry methods through the years, this little woolly lamb just won't cotton to washing. True, some wool items can be hand-washed, but even so... That lad's growing as fast as crabgrass, or that sweater shrank. We all know wool shrinks like no other natural fiber. So with wool clothing, it's either costly, time-consuming dry cleaning, or we clean and press it as best we can with spot remover and an iron. Used to be some guys even pressed their pants under the mattress. The newspapers prevented the springs from leaving impressions. So while better washing methods solved some of our washing problems, we knew further progress might be found in something other than natural fibers for our clothes. Textile manufacturers, clothing makers, fabric designers all asked, what can we find that's an improvement over wool or blends with it? What looks, feels, drapes, fashions better than wool? And for that matter, cotton, linen, and silk. We Americans go for that kind of challenge. We said, find something with all the good things of natural fibers and none of the drawbacks. That's when the test tube boys knuckled down to work. So began years of research, of tireless work of many men, of spending, well, let's not get into how much money, to create the modern man-made fibers for fabrics that we enjoy today. Day and night, research chemists like this fellow pursued a dream of new, exciting, completely different synthetic fibers. It's quite a dream, quite a story. If I get a little too technical, will someone please ring a bell? You see, for the first time since creation, men were going back to the elements to create a molecule. So soon? I'll start over. Beginning with pure chemicals, scientists, researchers, chemists stole a leaf from the silkworm and literally spun new kinds of threads. Threads and fibers that had to measure up to all the desirable qualities of resilience, that is to hold or return to original shape, softness, lightweight, strength, durability, and resistance to weather. At first, slowly, then with a speed almost too swift to follow, the magic of modern chemistry rocketed us into a new world of modern fabrics. Continuous, exciting technological discoveries gave us such man-made fibers as rayon and acetate, and such synthetics as nylon, acrylan, dacron, orlon, beryl, cresslan, dynel, zephyrum, and many others, including the new resin-treated cottons. Of all these, however, the big three soon proved to be nylon, dacron, and orlon. Why? Because they measured up to every expectation for their basic reason for being. Take that young fellow. Wears a suit of Dacron. Washable, doesn't wrinkle easily, holds its shape better than wool. His girlfriend wears a sweater of Orlon. Soft, with a luxurious feel, lightweight, yet warm and weather resistant. And Peeping Tom has a nylon jacket. Very light, yet it holds its shape because of its elasticity. Not only lightweight, but plenty tough. Oops, watch out, son. Yes, a fiber so strong that many a paratrooper, many an airman owes his life to a nylon parachute. Well, no one of these modern fibers meets all our clothing needs. But when we married them with the age-old natural fibers, we raised a brand new family of fabrics with greater strength, resilience, and new versatility. More important, these complementary blends meant that more and more clothing items could use new man-made fibers. A few, for example. Suits and shirts of Dacron with cotton, silk, or wool. Soft finish flannels, tweeds, skirts, and cashmere-like sweaters made with Orlon. Women's attractive blouses and sheer lingerie, fashioned from nylon, as well as a combination of other synthetic and natural fibers. All these enjoy greater freedom from wrinkles. Many feature permanently set creases or fashionable pleats. How's it done? Well, let's go back to the laboratory. You see, all true synthetic fibers are thermoplastic. Sorry, I'll try to make it simple. It means heat simply softens the fibers so they can be molded and remolded. This is nylon. Remember, the fibers are strong, yet soft, pliable, resilient, or elastic. That's why if you muss them up, they tend to return to their original shape. That's right. Wrinkles in modern fibers like to go back where they came from. Or, as clothing makers say, wrinkle resistant. Now, when you wash modern fibers, you actually help to banish wrinkles as the fabric seeks its original shape. Know why? Water and detergent, sure. They help the slippery fibers slide smoothly back to their wrinkle-free state. Those little nylon fibers are plastic only when hot. So that's the critical time when wear wrinkles tend to scoot back home, or new wrinkles might appear. Heat does the job of keeping the fabric free of wrinkles if, and it's a mighty big if, the fibers are not cooled off too quickly. Let's do an experiment. There's a temperature higher than I've mentioned so far, when fiber resiliency disappears and the fabric can be molded into any shape we want. This little plastic swizzle stick will show you what I mean. Let's call it a Dacron fiber. See how it can be molded with heat? Now watch. Cool this Dacron fiber quickly, and we give it a permanent shape. It will hold this shape unless we heat it again above the softening point. Did I say we had problems in washing natural fibers? Believe me, new methods and techniques had to be developed in washing and drying modern fibers and delicate fabrics. Consider, on wash day, people use, by tradition, hot water for their laundry. And by tradition, they like to agitate the dirt out so they know it's been agitated. And when they use an automatic dryer, they know that the hotter the temperature, the faster the job gets done. All this is enough to scare a modern fiber half to death. No wonder washing directions on clothing tags usually read, hand wash in warm water and hang up to drip dry. Yes, from a styling and comfort standpoint, we reached new highs with modern fabrics, but our washing methods, modern as they were, simply could not meet the particular washing needs of modern fibers. Almost seems like we were back to beating our clothes again with a paddle on a riverbank. Well, almost. Plus, we used to hang them up to drip dry, a somewhat messy chore even in our bathrooms. It wasn't long before some laundry manufacturers recognized that modern fabrics needed different care. And soon, new washers made their appearance. Some new automatics featured gentle cycles or offered a choice of shorter wash times. Others provided a warm wash water temperature A few had a cold rinse. All tried to meet the new washing requirements of modern fabrics. Requirements which were to become even more exacting because the laboratories of science and the apparel industry suddenly catapulted us into the wonderful world of wash and wear. Modern fibers, alone or in blends with natural fibers, brought new innovations in cool, crisp, comfortable clothes. Everything from shorts and casual slacks to colorful sport coats. From sun-happy sports shirts to fine weave dress shirts. The sheerest of slips and blouses. Bathrobes to rainwear to beach wear. At first, summer wear, then all-weather wear. Suits and topcoats for men. Fashionable sweaters, skirts, and synthetic furs for women. Even, believe it or not, tuxedos. Modern fibers in fashionable weave fabrics soon accounted for 1 out of every 3 sales. Based on the increasing usage of wash and wear, manufacturers are expecting to more than double today's output within the next 2 or 3 years. For example, they'll turn out 3,440,000 suits, 5,500,000 jackets, 13,900,000 slacks, and 21,900,000 business shirts. A success story, climaxed only by modern apparel clearly associated with the word automatic. The automatic suit. I'm wearing one now. A suit designed to be repeatedly worn, then washed in an automatic washer, and tumble dried in an automatic dryer, then worn immediately. With the creases and pleats still in place, but with the wrinkles gone. Small wonder it's called a limited care item. But to give it even limited care requires certain basic musts. Knowing them will help you in buying wash and wear. Generally speaking, these are warm wash water, short washing cycle, gentle agitation, water cool down, gentle spinning, cold rinse, right drying temperature, and drying cool-off. But speaking specifically, laundry research specialists asked, what is warm? Here's a shirt washed in water that wasn't hot enough. The wear wrinkles, especially around the belt line, just couldn't return to their original position and disappear. We call this losing their plastic memory. This skirt was washed in water that was too hot. These aren't wear wrinkles. They were put in by draining and spinning action. They were set because the hot water wasn't tempered with cold. Looks like the dryer temperature did some work in unmolding some of the preset pleats. Could be the lady's temperature went up a bit too when she saw the results. Actually, washing temperature should be over 120 degrees, but always under 145 degrees. And certainly drying temperature should rarely be more than 20 degrees hotter. Remember our little experiment? We found heat was very important, not just to remove soil or to dry faster, but because heat must remove all wear wrinkles without disturbing preset creases and pleats. And what is gentle? Certainly not the bongo drum agitation that manhandled this delicate garment. Specifically, wash and wear must be laundered in water that is medium, only long enough to remove soil, gently at low agitation speed to protect delicate fibers, and in water that is cooled down gradually prior to rinsing. This protects and sets the fibers so that wrinkling is minimized during the rinse and spin action. Wash and wear garments must never be compressed while they are hot. They should be rinsed in cold water, gently spin dried at a low speed to extract most of the water for drying and avoid setting in wrinkles. Finally, they should be tumble dried at the right temperature with a proper cool-off period. A tall order? It most certainly is. No wonder wash and wear makers tell you to follow your automatic's instructions to the letter, assuming the washer can do the job. With one automatic laundry pair, you can. And here it is. The RCA Whirlpool Imperial Mark 12. A truly miraculous washer and dryer. Each with its own special wash and wear cycle. Each completely equipped to meet every exacting requirement of the most modern wash and wear fabrics. And just as important, they provide the head of the family with all the carefree advantages of completely automatic, lint-free laundry service. Everything is simplified with this color-keyed control panel. Watch. She just turns the automatic fabric guide to the modern fabrics used in wash and wear. Dacron, nylon, Orlon, plus embossed cottons and blends. Reading across the fabric guide, we automatically see the correct settings for every operation. With every control, color keyed to the fabric guide. She simply dials to color. No guesswork. No need to refer to complicated instruction books to achieve the best, the safest, the desired results. According to the automatic fabric guide, and remembering the basic musts, she selects the low agitation and spin speed. She selects cold tap temperature rinse water and medium wash water temperature. Now, she selects the special wash and wear cycle and a 4-minute wash time. The only actual decision she makes is how much water to use, and that simply depends on the size of a wash and wear load. She can choose an infinite water level for greatest economy on partial loads. Filled, and with all the clothes in, well, almost all in, and with the water level reset, washing begins. 4 minutes wash time. Apparel washed so gently in her favorite detergent at low agitation and by thorough, balanced circulator washing action. Wash water temperature, just right to get clothes sparkling and remove all wear wrinkles. This is equally true of this regular washer or the big capacity washer-dryer combination, where wash and wear gets the same thorough, gentle care while being exclusively washed with water, not in water. After the washing agitation in the regular washer, the wash water is now gradually cooled down by cold water tempering while the clothes are still in suspension. This cools the fibers and avoids wrinkles that might occur during the drain out and during the spin cycle as clothes receive their thorough cold water spin spray rinses, followed by the low agitation, deep cold water rinse. And then, low speed spinning to damp dry the clothes. And now the wash and wear is ready for the dryer. Drying wash and wear is equally important. Remember, we want enough heat to soften fibers and remove wear wrinkles, but not enough to disturb preset creases. As with the washer, she uses the dryer's automatic fabric guide, again color-keyed for every fabric. She simply dials to color. No guesswork on her part to choose the special wash and wear setting. She selects it, choosing perhaps 30 minutes drying time, depending on the load. And with this single setting, she automatically gets the proper, safe drying temperature for wash and wear. And now the clothes are gently tumble-dried in safe, tempered heat. Again, this is equally true of the regular dryer or the washer-dryer combination. Always fast, safe drying of wash and wear that protects every fiber with the right temperatures, and whether in the combination or regular dryer, during the final 10 minutes, wash and wear items are gradually cooled down as they are tumbled in unheated air, a special feature that prevents wrinkles from being set when the dryer stops. And the sunshine fresh results? The wash and wear suit, the wash and wear dress, ready to wear. Trouser creases razor sharp, dress pleats all in place. Seems like a miracle, and it is. The most modern, the most automatic washing and drying service to match the most modern fabrics in family wear. I believe this is where we came in. In case you're worried, they stepped back just in time.
You're watching Sleepcore, media for insomnia.
Digital Equipment Corporation's introduction of the VAX 9000 in 1989 was a milestone in the company's history. Since then, a wide range of industries have embraced the VAX 9000, and customers have purchased it as a critical element in their computing strategy. To recognize and celebrate recent VAX 9000 successes, Digital sponsored the VAX 9000 Club, a program that honored account managers and team members. You'll hear from some of these successful account managers who have significantly contributed to gaining market share for digital in the mainframe and high-end technical markets.
Selling VAX 9000s are just the beginning. It's what we're going to do with the product and the positioning of our environment for mainframe applications as we move through the 90s. We have to get a very clear and concise message to our customers, to the industry as a whole, to ourselves, that we all understand what it is digital is positioning itself to be in the mainframe environment.
Trying to convince you why the 9000 is easy to sell. It is a VAX from the standpoint of the software. A lot of the testing, a lot of the comfort level that the customer had was because they were familiar with the VAX. The difference came when they were just absolutely amazed in the increase in performance and speed of what they had been used to seeing in a VAX versus the 9000.
Our largest competitor in the VAX 9000 arena is IBM. And the standards to which we're held up are the standards that IBM has already established. And we can, in many cases, compete against IBM and do very well. We're not going to win them all. Guess what? IBM's not going to win them all either.
The VAX 9000 has opened a lot of doors within the account. First off, it really moved us into a different level or a different position with the customer. We began dealing at levels within the company that we may not have dealt with before. It put us on the same level as our competitors. We were always above our competitors in some areas, and they were above ours in others, but this put us in a mainframe class environment with the Northern Trust.
I think the most important thing is to understand the issues that your customer has and the problems that they have in their business so that you can provide solutions or recommend solutions and work with them.
involvement of strategic people within the customer base as well as digital is absolutely key. It is sometimes a mammoth undertaking to get the 9000 installed, but once it is installed and installed properly, it's a supercomputer.
If this is your first attempt at a VAX 9000 sale, recruit all of the help and support that you possibly can. You can't do it alone. If you try to do it alone, you won't be successful. Build the team up front, get the expertise, and sell as a team.
We worked real close with the customer throughout the whole sales cycle. The benefit to that was they understood exactly what we were doing, when we were going to do it. When issues arose, they were involved with the solution. When it came time to actually buy the system, they were very comfortable that they knew where we were at, where we were going in the future, and how this machine was going to address their business problem.
This is the story of a search for beauty. In this search, men first drew inspiration from the forms of nature. In Egypt, the papyrus plant formed the motif in the fluting of architectural columns. In the maiden's gown, in the alabaster vase, in the styling of chariots, the ancestors, all fleet and beautiful things on wheels. The finest wheeled vehicles were styled for elegance and were made by hand for the fortunate few. But then came an innovation that was a turning point in history. No one cared that the automobile looked like the familiar buggy minus the horse. People were more concerned with whether it was safe and how well it would work. Automobiles continued to look like carriages, and much the same lines were used year after year. Then motor cars became a means of mass transportation with steel bodies that could be reproduced in the millions. Late in the 1920s, the Model A replaced the Model T. Here was the beginning of a new motor age, the styling of a mass-produced car so that it would be more pleasing to the eye. As engineers worked to improve the mechanism,
stylists worked to improve the appearance. In those formative years, the concept of the modern car was born, as the work of the stylist became an organized search for beauty. One concept led to the elegance and dignity of the Continental, unto the swift and distinctive lines of the Thunderbird. Principles of beauty to an automobile. Like the painters and sculptors who preceded him for centuries, he draws inspiration and ideas from the life, the forms, and the art of the world. Shape, proportion, ornamentation, material, texture, color, function, pattern, space, and rhythm, so that the automobile he designs will be both functional and beautiful. He explores the dynamics of motion, both mechanical and human, or as he learned when he was a student, if you can draw the subtlety of the human figure, you can draw anything. Just as a sculptor may express strength in repose, the stylist must express form that relates to motion. He blends all these elements for the final effect of harmony, order, and interest. The contemporary stylist is part artist, part architect, part sculptor, and part product designer. Like Leonardo da Vinci, the stylist unites art and technology. Leonardo, master of the Renaissance, approached art as a science and science as an art. Leonardo's spring-driven automobile has something in common with this dream car conceived in an advanced styling studio. Both are far ahead of the time in which they were created. Today's dream cars are a source of inspiration for the stylists. While some are working on ideas for the distant future, others are concerned with features that may be used in the next few years. In attacking a design problem, the stylist must think first of the vehicle's occupants. Safety and comfort, along with beauty, are of basic importance. He explores many directions. Finally, the best features coalesce into the design that is approved for the next stage. Expression in 3 dimensions. To this wooden armature, clay is applied. It is shaped a sculptured version of a new model. After many refinements, the first 3-dimensional model is ready for management appraisal. Here is Allegro, an experimental car that could be called a practical dream car. It is designed with a long hood, a grille that extends forward of the headlights, a compact passenger compartment, and a fast-back roofline. Other advances include brake and accelerator pedals which adjust to fit the driver. Here is a new concept in driver convenience, a unique cantilevered arm steering wheel with a memory unit. By pushing buttons, the driver can raise or lower the steering wheel and move it fore or aft to his most comfortable driving position. When he leaves, he swings the steering wheel out of the way for easy exit. On re-entering the car, he merely touches the memory button to move the steering wheel back to the original driving position. This is Cougar 2, another practical dream car. It's a two-passenger GT or Gran Turismo. Function is the keynote of the interior design. The leather seats adjust individually. Instrumentation is complete and clearly legible. Controls are located for optimum convenience, and the carpeting enhances soundproofing as much as appearance. The Cougar 2 has a fastback roof, concealed pop-up headlamps, and is powered by a high-performance V8 engine. It could be engineered for speeds in the 170 mile per hour range. And now Aurora, designed for the whole family to enjoy. A bank of 12 one-inch headlights is a new approach to road illumination. Electroluminescent side panels increase visibility for nighttime safety. It has a clamshell rear entry system which consists of a tailgate that folds down and a lift gate that slides over the roof to permit easy access to the children's seat. The front passenger can face forward or swivel the armchair seat. The curved sofa is large enough for 3 adults. This experimental station wagon is equipped with a thermoelectric combination oven refrigerator unit and a built-in beverage cooler and cabinet. It also has 3 separate AM/FM radios, a sound recorder, and a plug-in TV screen. The advanced instrument panel incorporates a position indicator map that automatically adjusts to the location of the car. A lane speed panel for expressway driving. A large speedometer with individually illuminated numerals to highlight vehicle speed, and a constant speed control device. With variable ratio steering, the steering bar requires only 1/2 turn from lock to lock. Sits in a contoured cockpit seat with a high back for support. Will any of these experimental features be seen on production cars in the future? The public will decide. Experimental cars are displayed at places such as the World's Fair to evoke consumer action. When many opinions are evaluated, the features consumers like. As the search for beauty continues, the stylist focuses on the future that lies just ahead. Years ago, custom-built horseless carriages reflected the tastes of the very wealthy. Today, the lowest price cars provide attractive and tasteful interiors. And stylists are working on many ways to make them even more comfortable and more exciting in years to come. To please a very style-conscious public, the interior designer evaluates thousands of fabrics before making a selection. But the search for beauty must be more than surface deep, and the stylist is as concerned with function as he is with form. By definition, a stylist is one who advises concerning current styles, as in dress and furnishings. Today, the term is in the automotive industry to differentiate between the designer of the vehicle's appearance and the designer of the mechanical parts and structure. Obviously, these creative processes overlap. Like his predecessors, the stylist, by inclination, skill, and training, is predominantly an artist. Yet, in order to exercise his art, he must have a working knowledge of engineering, of the properties of many materials, and of costs and sources of supply. Thus, he is an industrial designer who applies total performance of vehicles. Sometimes the stylist's experimental car can be moved almost without change to the assembly line. Such a car was Mustang II. What gives this car its look of total performance? First, inside. An interior that's inviting, comfortable, and sporty, with an instrument panel that's deeply padded and hooded. Now outside, the unique grille, long hood, low top, and short rear deck. Sculptured side panels to lower the profile. Round wheel openings to emphasize the wheels and suggest power and performance. This is the moment of truth, the production car. The work of the stylist, begun over 20 months ago, has been translated into fabric, rubber, glass, and metal. Now the public will tell him how well he has succeeded. This story of styling ends here, but the stylist will turn again to his practical dreams. The search for beauty never ends.
You're watching Sleepcore. Sleep tight.
There are those who would say that the story which follows could happen only in a dream. Regardless of where it could happen, this is the way it did happen. The story involves Bill Dudley, a mighty darn good wholesale bakery salesman, a character named Red, who actually is nothing more than a file clerk, and one named Whitey, who is similarly employed, so to speak. It all starts in this rather strange and out-of-this-world office, which keeps the sales records of every wholesale bakery salesman on Earth. Or so the story goes. Whitey is entrusted with the records of good salesmen. Red, the other kind. Now, it seems that Red and Whitey never see eye to eye on matters. Naturally, this leads to many arguments. Our story opens in the midst of one of them.
Must you beat on that confounded thing all the time?
I am not beating. I'm playing.
Well, whatever it is, it sounds awful.
You're just peeved because another breadfruit salesman has been transferred from your record to mine.
Bill Dudley! I'll get him back on my records again. He's my kind of a salesman, that boy. Down, down, down. Marvelous record.
But what about this? Which, of course, is the reason he's now in my ledger.
Strictly a temporary condition. Why, at the slightest excuse, he'll slip back into his old habit of taking life easy. The way a smart salesman should.
You're talking through your horns again.
Wouldn't want to make a little bet on that now, would you?
Like what?
Oh, say, a new set of asbestos points for my pitchfork against a new set of strings for that thing.
On the level?
Strictly on the level. Of course, if you're afraid, it might...
I don't frighten easily. Go on.
Well, now, suppose an attractive young lady were to ride the route with this Bill Dudley. Say she's a magazine writer and is after material for an article. Say she makes fun of the way he works. That's all it'd take to get him back into my way of selling again.
You think so, huh?
I'm willing to bet on it.
So I gather. But how could we up here fix it so that a magazine writer down there... Oh, no. No, not me.
Why not? The trip will do you good.
Of course, I haven't been down there in a long time. Even on business.
That's the way to talk. And perhaps, as a little added distraction from his work... yes. But perhaps something a little more... Or perhaps even...
Oh, no, don't you dare. No magic and no miracles. It's against the rules. If I go, I'll go like this.
How dull. All right. Is it a bet?
All right, it's a bet. I'll put this Bill Dudley to the test.
Hi. Let me see if I got this whole thing straight now. You're a writer.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to do an article on modern food merchandising.
That's right.
And the boss said it was okay for you to write with me today.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's okay with me then, but I'd sure have a tough time making my wife believe this one.
Well, so would I.
Come on.
Well, that's how Whitey started out to prove her point. But Red was not far behind.
Hey, you're not down here just for the ride, you know. Start working on the guy. We got a bet on.
Say, you know, this seems to be an awfully dull job that you have.
Oh? What gave you that idea?
It wasn't my... I mean, well, after all, it is just a delivery man's job, isn't it?
Young lady, take it from me. Any guy who thinks this is just a delivery job belongs in a coal truck, not a bread booth. You sit there. I'll be right back.
Well?
Well, I told him I thought he was a dope not to work it, to be the first one in every day.
Good.
I told him I thought all this push on getting good displays, just a lot of front office talk.
Couldn't have phrased it better myself.
Why keep a close check on how your load's going, I said. You can always dump it on the last half dozen stops.
Excellent. And what did he say?
Nothing. That's the trouble. He just sat there listening and looking very thoughtful.
There, you see? What did I tell you? My bet's practically won.
Gee, you know, I would have sworn that nothing could make him slip back into his old selling ways.
Must be no on the force. Okay. You've talked. I've listened. Now it's my turn. I talk and you listen. First of all, take a look. A loaf of bread. An important food, a healthy food, and a basic food that can be served in more than 100 different ways. And give a look. Not just one kind of bread, but a whole variety. And not only bread, but a whole variety of all types of baked goods.
Are you, by any chance, trying to say that you think this business of yours is important?
That's exactly the way I feel about it.
Uh-oh. There's something about that guy's tone of voice I don't like.
But just because we're important in the food picture doesn't mean a guy can sit back and take it easy on this job.
Why not?
Well, because folks have to go to stores to buy my stuff.
So?
So, in these stores, there can be as many as 3,000 different food items that are just itching to latch on a part of their food money, including a few other brands of baked goods. So, it's one great big scramble. Up and down the aisles the shopper goes, and what she'll buy, nobody knows. For sure, that is. But every food item tries to make the grade by looking so doggone good she just can't resist buying. Appetite appeal, we call it. And how do you get it?
That's just what I was going to ask you.
Well, one way is to let the shopper see the actual product. Yes, sir, you can write this down in your notebook. For making the best impression, nothing beats seeing the actual product. Now, one way to get it is with modern packaging. But that's not all. Now, for best appetite appeal, you also have to have good displays. Displays that sell. And believe me, top salesmen are using all the tricks in the book to get them. Tie-in displays with go-together food products. Meal suggestion displays, and a lot of others. So when you stop and think about it, this job of mine is anything but dull.
But still, doesn't it get monotonous doing the same routine things every day?
Every day is different on this job. Every store is different, depending on what bullseye I'm working on.
Bullseye?
Sure. You know, a while back I decided this could be a better paying job if the guy used his noggin. That's when I set up 3 bullseyes. Here they are. Grocer goodwill, plus volume, and selling displays. The things I'm aiming for in every store on my route. Anytime you can do something to make yourself better liked in a store, or up the volume in a store by even one loaf of bread, or get a new display idea, can mean more dough. I'm just crazy enough to like the feel of more money. That's why I keep aiming for those bullseyes. Well, I better wind up Nellie and get going.
Huh. It's jerks like that that end up as supervisors.
You know, when I first started on the route, I acted like it was nothing more than a delivery job. Take this grocer goodwill business. Know how I used to go after that? Why, I used to go into stores and slam doors.
Hiya, Duffy, old boy. How's the old miser today? Counting your gold again, huh?
Sorry, Duff. No harm done, huh? See you again, Duff.
It must have been awful.
Well, maybe it wasn't quite that bad. Anyway, today I go after a grocer's goodwill a little different. I'll show you. Morning, Mr. Marco.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm a feel lousy.
No, I'm sorry to hear that. Hey, something new. Say, these are pretty slick.
You noticed that, eh?
Sure did. Yeah, I bet your customers will go for them, too.
With my customers, maybe yes and maybe no. We'll see.
Go on, you know doggone well they will. Be right back. You see, I want every grocer on my route thinking,
that Bill Dudley is okay. Never slams doors. Always seems friendly, always got a smile. Always interested in my store, treats my place with respect. Never slams his trays around or makes a nuisance of himself. I like to do business with salesmen like that.
believe me, building up goodwill is important. Without it, you get nowhere in selling today. Look, why don't you stay here and rest a minute while I go in and check the sales. Don't run off now.
Oh, I wouldn't think of it.
I don't like the way that guy's yakking.
I do.
You would. If you want my opinion, he's in a rut.
Oh, well, if you want mine, he's in the groove.
Thanks for the match, lady.
What match? Oh, yes, you're welcome.
Haven't I seen that guy before somewhere? Now, I was going to tell you about the second bullseye of mine, plus volume. One way to go after it is to use this and this.
What's this?
That, my young lady, is my business Bible. I've got a complete and up-to-date picture on every stop on my route. I know exactly what sells in each store and what doesn't. I know what new items I've tried in each stop, how each one is done. No guesswork. The facts are all there and they're up to date. Well, team up these facts with a little bit of this, and you can go after plus volume without the risk of getting stuck with a lot of returns.
So a guy gets returns, so what? Let the boss worry about him.
Here's something else a fella can do to get plus volume. Watch me in here. Say, Mr. O'Connor.
Yes, Bill?
I'm putting in a half a dozen of these new sweet doughs. They went over so good last year, we're running them again. Since it's a good profit item, I'm sure you want to keep an eye on them, see how they're going. Here's a sample. See for yourself how good they are.
Oh, thanks, Bill.
You see, talking it up is another key to getting plus volume. You can get in a good plug when you introduce a new package, a new product, or a special. The more you talk it up, the better chance of getting him to push it.
But what was all this mumbo-jumbo business with so many of this at so much and so many of that at so much at the last store?
Oh, the count check. That's something I always do before I put the stuff on the shelves. Avoids mix-ups later on. And this is especially important in big bakery departments. You see, in supermarkets, there are a lot of bakery salesmen coming in. And the count check also reminds the grocer of what baked goods of mine he's got to sell. The better he knows my products, the better chance of getting his help in selling them. And that makes for plus volume for me. And then there's that third bullseye of mine, selling displays. You know, that can be a little rough. You see, well, take this route of mine. I've got all kinds of bread racks and display shelves. Some of them are pips. I guess other guys' routes are the same way. I used to give up easy on displays. I had only one rule I followed. As long as the stuff didn't fall on the floor while I was there, it was okay. No more, though. And believe me, there's no trick or mystery to building good selling displays. Just stack the bread so the brand name shows best and shows off the bread to best advantage. And give the specialty loaves the best display space. And don't squash bread to get it in. If a store is selling more bread than I got room for in my display space, I talk to the grocer about giving me more room, say near the checkout counters or on the counter next to the register. Now, baked goods are impulse items too, so I always display them as near eye level as I can, so they're easy to see and easy to reach. When you figure a shopper spends an average of only 35 seconds in a baked goods department, there's not much time for your display to work on them. So display it within easy reach, group the items together, keep from burying any item out of sight. But you know, a lot of the other bread boys are doing that much. So how do you get the jump on them? With special display and promotion ideas. Take the other day. I noticed the stop on my route was running a special on hamburger. Okay. So I talked the grocer into including rolls in a special display next to the hamburger. That's where getting goodwill pays off. If you got the grocer's goodwill, you can get extra selling displays in the store built around special promotions. Picnic displays, especially good just before holidays and weekends in summer. School lunch idea displays, especially good in fall. Better breakfast displays, or any others that tie in with national promotions. Seasonal promotion displays, fruitcakes around Thanksgiving and Christmas. Hot cross buns and Easter cakes at Easter time. Displays that suggest ideas for all types of entertaining. And I use all the banners and cards and streamers or printed promotional material I can get. Anything to give any display more sale. But all this talk of mine boils down to just this. This is a tough business, a mighty competitive business. But for the guy who aims for grosser goodwill, plus volume, and selling displays, there can be a darn good one, too.
Well, now, that was quite a speech.
Oh, I'm sorry if I bored you.
Bored me? Oh, no, quite the opposite. But tell me, how in the world do you get all of those things done?
Oh, the whole secret to that is taking it in small chunks. Maybe one week I'm shooting for special displays in 10 of my best stops. Next week, 10 more, and so on. After all, that's only 2 a day. Or maybe my goal for this week is to spend a couple of extra minutes in my biggest volume stops just to work on goodwill. Always got something cooking at a few stops. Always something aimed at one of these bullseyes. Grosser goodwill, plus volume, selling displays.
And are you sure nobody could unsell you on these things?
Not a chance. I like the payoff too much.
Well, don't you ever slip up?
Sure, I'm just as human as the next guy. That's why I keep these bullseyes handy, so that a small slip-up doesn't turn into a big trip-up. Well, off to the races. What do you say?
Grosser goodwill, plus volume, selling displays. Okay, so you won a bet. But Bill Dudley's just one guy.
Oh, well, maybe I better drop down and see some of the other fellows on your list.
Oh, no, you don't. After all, that was only a bet. But from now on, I'm gonna keep a pretty close watch on these guys.
Mm-hmm. And so will I.